Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, get that bell notification on too so you don't miss out on a video. Welcome back to the channel where last time we were here, we did some regional and historic roads during a live stream event that I try to do every month. In today's episode, we are going to be starting the downtown. This came off of a poll that I did on the community page because I had a few ideas floating around. Let the community decide, and we're going to start the downtown in these next few videos. So what we've been doing so far is kind of like the historic city, one of the first cities in the area, but we're going to kind of create a second city in the region, which is going to be where like the financial hub of the region is, kind of like what Vancouver is to New Westminster, which is in the same area. And we'll be taking some historic themes from the development of the Vancouver metro area for today's video. And then also before we get going, if you missed it, I had my first Skylines 6 summer vacation video debut on Sunday, and it'll be linked right here if you want to see it. It was a really fun build. Did a financial district with baseball stadium and whatnot. It was a ton of fun. If you don't know what the Skylines 6 is, it's a multiplayer collaboration project with a group of builders and guest builders, and we pass around the save and we have a lot of fun. Right now we're building a vacation city, and it's turning out real nice. So let's hop out and take a look at where we'll be starting, because we're not going to be starting in where we're going to be building our downtown. So we're all the way out here along the Oracle River. This is pretty far away from where we're going to be doing everything so far. So we have what we've been building these last 20 so episodes over here. We're going to be building the financial district over here. So why are we starting out over on this side? Well, that is because of the rail. Rail was extremely important to the development of the Pacific Northwest, and we need to kind of create a historic right-of-way for this rail to get to the other side, give it a reason as to why the town developed here. So right now, the rail swings all the way out down through the city. We have a historic right-of-way through here where it's going to connect up with a port down the line. Is it functioning still? I don't know. Could be just an old port. But it also used to go right downtown, right through here. That's since been erased and has become a museum and turned into trams and whatnot. But right now the modern rail just still runs through the city. But that doesn't serve anything over on this side of the map. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now these rails, they often followed the water and the coastline, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be building this rail right along the coastline. We're going to be using this point here because, as we see, the rail kind of ducks away from the coastline a little bit. Well, it actually follows it, but you know, it ducks away this way. So I think what we can do is kind of create a bit of a secondary area here where we can then bridge across the river, and then vice versa, and then reconnect back up. So this gives us a bit of space here to play with. So let's do that. We'll create the bridge and then we'll reconvene in a second. All right, so here is the rail bridge. So right off from here, what we do is we swing off into this kind of interchange area, and then we get to something a little funky. So these are one-way bridges from the Bridges and Piers pack, I believe, from way back in the day. Love them, really glad we got to use them. So they're fused together with Move It, but since they're single tracks, they need to cross over each other at this point. I think it's going to be fine. I don't see it being an issue, but it creates these really cool connection points and how they kind of swing out and everything like that. I think that's really, really neat and definitely not unheard of. But the rule of thumb is if you can see the tracks, they are active, so I think we're good. We have a bit of a nature pocket in the middle here from, you know, wear and tear over the years. And then out to here, we also have a connection over here, which is large enough for trains to kind of switch tracks depending on which direction they're going. Then over on this side, we do something a little bit different where we're fusing these two single tracks into a double track. Much easier. And now what we're going to do is we're going to swing this along the coastlines. And when we get to this point here, I'm having a little internal debate. I kind of think a level crossing would be interesting here. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a crazy main thoroughway. So I think it would be really neat if we could get a level crossing. Because all this road does is, well, I'm saying that, but then I don't really know how the city's going to develop, where small towns are going to pop up. So it might get a little hairy, in which case, then we'll definitely switch it off of a level crossing. But I think a level crossing would be neat for now. Then we'll swing it alongside here, where we get to this little gap in the terrain. I want to throw a little bridge on that, and then we'll swing on this side of this rock feature. And then from here, we're going to bridge a little bit. So we have these 3 bridges here. Then we're going to stick alongside of the side of the mountain here, where we're going to kind of create our own little platform. And then we'll get back to mainland and we'll swing down to here where we'll reconvene again. All right, so here we go. We have the rail all the way through here, swings down over this way through the forest here, close to the water. We have a level crossing, which may or may not stay. We go elevated a bit as we pass over this embankment here. Then we go onto a little bridge piece over top of this gorge, and then we swing by the bridge and the rock feature. Go with an elevated bridge right here, swing alongside the cliff on a little platform here. And then we continue through this area. It's a little steep, but I think it's fine. And then we swing down through here underneath this bridge here where we have the this was a big debate in the live stream on what bridge to use, because is this actually a pedestrian bridge underneath it? We don't know, but either way, the trains fit underneath it. And then we swing under through here across the highway underneath it, where we now emerge over onto this side where the downtown is going to be. So what was the real purpose of this rail line through here? Well, that is because we need to create where the original port was. This is where the trains would have come in to this part of the region, right? So if we swing it out over to here, I think this little pocket right in here could make a pretty cool port area. In specific, I think these 2 little bump outs could be a really good destination for a port, because this isn't going to be the destination for the rails, because this is the historic port. We're going to have a modern port over here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to swing this down. It's a little steep, so I think we're going to kind of follow the tree line here, connect into here, and then we'll swing it right out into the port area where we'll connect up with a future port. This is not going to be happening today. And then we'll swing it out this way and follow the coastline or something. Maybe even go out of bounds from there. Actually, I think we will connect it out of bounds. That makes sense to do. Okay, so that's kind of the plan. I was thinking when it comes to the harbor, that we'll put it right in here, but it's a little tight with everything else going on. It'll be really tricky to get the rails down here. Actually, you know what? I think we could do it. We could swing the rails kind of down like that and connect in, and that could be a good destination for a port. The waters are rather calm here, but I was thinking we could probably stretch it a little bit onto this side, bring it down in here. We have a pretty flat area. That's pretty acceptable for our port. We'll do a bit of land reclamation when we actually create the port area. But then the downtown is going to be planned out right in this pocket here. The idea is that this port is kind of one of the original destinations on the Trans-Canadian Rail line. This was kind of one of the end points. And we'll have the downtown here. We'll have the grid planned off of the river front. And then we'll have competing grids kind of battling it out, because we'll have another grid probably over here with the modern seaport. This area is probably going to be a major park area, so we need to keep that in mind. The rest of it we'll see, particularly because we have a road over here which is going to turn into an interchange, which is going to be the main interchange from this part of the map into the downtown core. So it's going to need to be a really prominent interchange, and that'll be the main connection in next episode. Next episode we'll probably do this interchange here, connect it up, and then start building up the downtown core itself. Today is rail and grid, so downtown planning. Okay, so let's continue on here. I kind of like the idea of looping it back and getting the port in this side. It seems a little sheltered, especially with the island here. I think that's really fun. So let's do that, and then we'll look at connecting it out this way. All right, so we have the main port area for the river through here. And if we can get these ports running, I would imagine that there could be trade done between these two ports. I'm not sure exactly how it works, to be honest, between cargo ships. If cargo ships can transfer between two ports, I don't know. But that would be really useful if they could. But we don't have ports unlocked, which is why we're not really doing them today. That'll definitely come in a future episode. But I think this is turning out pretty cool. We have the rails coming through here. It's a little steep through here, I'm not going to lie, but I don't really see a way for us to get it better. I think maybe if we sink everything a little bit lower, we might be able to correct the slope a little bit, but I'll do that in the next time we do a bit of a speed through. Yeah, so we have this connection over here. We need to have another one from this side into the port area, because there will be trains coming in from this direction into this port. So we got to make sure we have that. Then what we're going to need to do is figure out how we're going to connect up from here into here. So I'm thinking what we do is we run the rail pretty much kind of like this, coming through here, the trees, and then kind of straight through here, and then curving into the cargo harbor, and then continuing the rail, instead of doing kind of like this way, and then kind of doubling back like we just did here. I think it'd be cool to kind of get it to flow through. So yeah, maybe we can make a bit of a bypass down the line from here. We could bypass this whole situation directly into this area. That would be neat. Or maybe we could even do that from up here and swing a bypass line. I think that would be really useful. But let's continue with this connection. Awesome, so we got the slope a lot better through here, which is really, really good. And then here is kind of how the rails are working. So we swing through here, kind of following the general topography of the area. And then we slowly start cutting a little bit into this hillside, I guess. And then we emerge into the port where we'll have our many port connections. This whole section from like here is definitely going to get revised as we approach the port and stuff like that. So I'm not going to worry too much about this today. And then we swing up through here and we have another cut, and this will be cool because we could kind of bridge over top of it and whatnot. Not too sure what this is. I thought maybe at one point it was like a floodplain or something like that swinging down to the ocean, but it looks like this ship just got abandoned. So let's continue the rail out of bounds, I guess, because it'd be cool to get some trains running through this area. So we need to get to the coastline, right? And we're pretty flat, so I think we can probably safely start to swing up. And we'll have a gentle curve through here. Yeah, to about here maybe. And then we'll swing out to the coastline, right to about here. That seems pretty good. Okay, let's fix this up. So let's go to network multi-tool. We have our slope terrain mode. And then we already sloped this up to here. So from this point, let's just see if we can get it to 2%. 2% is like a rough guideline. Oh, 1.3. Okay, that's really good. So we'll keep it there. And then from that 1.3, let's just go right to here. This should be pretty much 0. Nice. All right, so we have a nice little cut through here. That's really neat. We can do something with that in the future, way into the future. All right, we have our outside connection. I'm not sure if it's actually connected, so I'll figure that out off camera, but we duck and dive through here. We have a couple elevated portions where it's really high, and I think it's pretty cool. It's going to create for, it's going to make for some really neat, challenges down the line and builds, because I think this rail is going to be really, really important for the whole series, really, because look where it runs. It runs right through where we're going to have a downtown. So how is that going to affect everything, right? Well, let's talk about that really quickly, because now we need to start planning the grid. And then once we get the grid established, we'll leave it for today, and then we'll pick up right where we left off in Friday's episode, because we're going to have the grid kind of coming off of here, because we'll just kind of establish it within the rail line itself. But the main kind of issue here is where we're going to have this main parkway come in, right? Is this parkway going to come in through here across the rail or something like that? Or are we going to swing it kind of following the rail or something like that, right? So we got to figure out how that's going to work, because the maps that I've been looking at don't really have the rail as like a feature in the same way that we have it over here, where everything is kind of evolved around it, like where it sinks. It kind of seems like they just kind of ignore it. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I'll show the map that I'm looking at and right here. But I'm not sure if it's copyrighted or anything like that, so it's going to be pretty small, I guess. Yeah, I posted them on the Discord too if you want to take a closer look. But if we look right here, we have an area where we could easily come across the rail. Like, really simple. We don't really need to worry about the rails right of way right here at all. But once we get over into this point here, this is where we're going to start having to worry about the rail right of way a little bit, right? Seems a little iffy, doesn't it? So yeah, that is an issue, particularly because I'm not done with the rails yet. I'm gonna get a rail station in here. This is the downtown core, after all, of Old City. It would have had a rail station as well. So right from here, maybe this node here, we're gonna branch off in this direction and follow a road. And then this one is just going to cut right in. It might reconnect. I don't know. We're gonna need to figure that out, because this is going to be quite the feature that we're gonna need to kind of duck and dive around. Tunneling under the rails, bridging the rail, particularly just in this pocket right here, is going to be the main issue, especially as where this parkways might end up kind of lining up, right? Like if it comes in through here into the downtown core. So lots at stake. So let's clear this area from trees and figure out where this passenger rail line is going to kind of end up. All right, so I just cleared it from trees just so we can kind of see the terrain a little bit easier. There's all these dead trees, so I'm just going to eliminate them as well. They're props, so if we just go in to move it here, do a huge click and drag. Whoa, look at them all. And then we can just delete it. It also helps save your computer on some power because it's rendering all those dead trees for some reason. All right, so we are going to do something pretty similar to what we did over here with not necessarily the passenger rail, but the seawall and stuff like that. So I'm not going to establish that yet because we're not really building the city. We're just kind of planning it out. So let's just get some basic roads in here, and let's find a clean topographical line. There we go. Oh, look at that. So we can go like right along the water here. That is really nice. Let's maybe build it out right here. And we'll use the same grid pattern as we did with our other one. So let's just make sure that I remember exactly how big our grid was. 16 units. Oh yes, okay. Don't want to make that mistake. That would be drastic. So I think if we bring this first area right through here, that should be good. Swing this out to about there, 80 units, why not? All right, and then we'll have our first kind of grid running right off of here. And oh, I should have actually made that one a proper size. Let's go 32 units. All right, so I think I found a solution, and that is over here. So we have this whole section elevated. I was trying to think how we're going to get this train to run through the city here, and I believe that this is probably the best way to do it. Have it on an elevated track running through the area. Since we're doing this, we're definitely going to need to have a bypass for the downtown core. Something like that would probably be good. So we should get that in a minute. But let's get all of these nodes that are around this area here. There we go, these ones. We're going to select all the ones on the road, and we're just going to set them to the same height so that we can have a good little look at how the grid's going to play out, and if we actually are going to be able to get a passenger rail line in here at all. All right, so I've thought of it, and we are going to get a passenger rail station in this city, because there definitely would have been, right? Historically, there would have been. I think we said there was one over here, but then they removed that one, and we put it actually over here now, which, when we load, bit of an autosave, horrible time for that. We have the Port Roberts station over here, which is not supposed to be a huge station, but it turns out that a bunch of tourists are using it, so that's incredible. That's a lot of people, like a lot. glad that a lot of them got off, but a lot of them are getting off. Holy moly, we are gonna need to make sure our transit is real good. Looks like a lot of people are using the bridge here, probably to get to the metro. Okay, all right. We might need to do a bit of a some work on this, but hopefully this train station that we're about to add in is gonna fix it. So, again, there would have been a train station over here. This is probably a slightly more modern expansion of a port, maybe in the 1910s. Not 100% sure. This is definitely a more modern port, maybe just pre-war, just post-war. So there probably would have been a line running this way. They probably ended it right here with an expansion of it over this way. That's probably when they did this, and they leveled out the terrain a little bit to kind of maybe the terrain was natural. That would make sense. And then they put the rail this way. Oh my gosh, there's a moose in the city. And then they just elevated the rail this way to kind of create this connection. Maybe what we can do is have that bypass running this way, and it can connect up into the port this way as well and split off in that direction too. And then that could be a reason why. I don't know. We got to figure out some more. But let's build out this road right here, because this road is going to be very important. Because once we get our train station in here, we're not going to really be able to move it. So we could have a historic train station, or we could go with something a bit more modern. And I'm going to go with the classic end station, multi-platform end station, because it has a metro stop inside of it too, which could be useful down the line. So I'm going to slide it in right in here. However, I'm going to look on the workshop for a cool train station, because I don't want to just use this one again. We've used this one a couple times now. But I don't think this metro is going to line up properly with anything, because right now our metros are running this way. Oops. Get back here. So we have a metro running over here, and then this one is going to bridge underneath the water and come out in this direction. So maybe it could, but I don't imagine that this is going to line up properly. We could get like a cross station here, and we have another metro running this way. I doubt that this one is ever going to go in this direction though. So again, I'm going to look for a different end station in the workshop. So this isn't going to be the be all end all, but it might be if I can't find one that I like, because when it comes to end stations, there's not that many on the workshop. Although this one's pretty cool because it has monorail attached to it too. Yeah, there's only 2 with monorail. Let's see if we can get this one to work really quickly, because the monorail would be a cool addition. Yeah, I can't see this being a major city's end station here. No. I cannot, unfortunately, see this being a major city's rail station. It would be really cool, though, if it was like... Actually, it might be, because I'm thinking about this. There probably would be land restrictions, right? Because say we have a historic station, like a seaside resort really quickly. I'm just going to pull one up. Oh, that's skyscrapers. Seaside resorts. We have a historic train station right here, you know, and it has the rails running beside it. This is like an old building or whatever. This is we're just talking this out, right? So we have this right here, old train station, rails coming in. This whole area would have been for the rail land, but this is just a passenger train station because they diverted the cargo portion of it along the waterfront, where it makes most sense. So maybe at one point they had an old port right along the waterfront here where they brought goods in, but they've reclaimed some land and were restricted by maybe historical buildings over here and over here. So we need to have a smaller station. I guess that makes sense. Let's see if we can get this station to work, because this metro train monorail tram hub with road probably won't. Just the directionality of everything. If we were to try to connect it like right here, I mean, that's pretty cool, but let's just quickly take a look at it. Holy cow, this is everything, isn't it? What a station. I mean, that's really important and really cool, but I don't see us ever getting elevated trams and metros and stuff through here, so it just doesn't make sense for our build. But let's place down this one, the Metro Monorail Train Hub, because I could see us getting this one to work pretty cool. Oops, we need to move this over. Since this is an end station, we can pretty much get it to look like that, I believe. We can have metros running through here by connecting up like a station or something. Let's just look at the metro stations really quickly. Metro. So I would imagine that there would be like a... No way, there is? I figured we're going to need to build like a secondary one. Okay, so there is a metro in here. That is fantastic. Okay, because then we can have another metro station like right here. And then we can have another one like right here kind of thing. Maybe a bit more over, connecting it up. So I think we could get this to work out really nicely. Okay, I was a little worried that this wasn't going to end up working out. But look at this. Okay, and then we can have the SkyTrain, aka the monorail, run through here as well. And get a few connections in here. Maybe connect them up and run them between buildings or something like that. And maybe curve up this way, because we're having the metro coming this way, so we're going to want it to go in different directions. That would be really cool. We could get it onto the road too. That would be really neat. So I think this gives us a lot of cool options. And then plus we don't need a ton of train stops. These are only international trains, or not, sorry, national trains. So I think this could work out interestingly, at least. Maybe we could fit another station in. I don't think this one necessarily, but if we go into trains, I don't think there's a small train station, unfortunately. There's like the ground bypass station. There's the historic train station. I don't think that's on the right side though. Okay, I think we could get this to work. We have maybe the legacy historic train station in here with the modern expansion of it. So we still have the track active, which is pretty cool because there are some historic trains that run across Canada. So I think that could be a really cool factor. But then this gets us to one of the key pieces of this build, which is every major city in Canada has a historic train station that was built right beside it or right across the street. Every single one. It was kind of built as like a tourist attraction kind of thing, and those hotels are still prominent today. The Royal York in Toronto, the Chateau Laurier in Ottawa, the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City, and many, many more. Winnipeg, in Regina, in Calgary, and Edmonton. So in Vancouver, there's one too. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll put a picture of it right here on screen. But if I remember, otherwise you're just seeing my mouse spin around. But in the hotels DLC, there is a really cool hotel, which I think we could utilize as that then in the future. And that is the Heritage Hotel. Now, I really wish I could see the size of it right now. Then we could plan it out and we could plop it down later because we need to unlock level 4 hotels to get that. Level 5! Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're really far away from that. Let's just check one of the hotels and see where we're actually at. Yeah, okay. So we really need to play this game a little bit better to get the hotels up. So I think we'll save a space and we can actually figure out how big it's going to be if we go into Game Anarchy and we kind of do some unlock all stuff, which I'm not 100% keen on doing, but I'll figure out the size of it, and then we'll plan it out. Otherwise, we can use a building like this from the Seaside Resorts pack to simulate that kind of historic hotel, and that's not big enough. That's really cool, actually, but it's not big enough either. Ah, this is the kind of size that I'm thinking of. But I think the Heritage Hotel is a bit bigger. So that's going to be kind of the size of it, centered right out in front of the train station. We could kind of get 2 of these guys for now. I don't know. I don't really like the idea of just plopping buildings down that we're just going to delete anyways. So yeah, anyways, that works. So now that we've done that, we can kind of actually add in the rails now, right? So let's get these out to where we need them to be. All right, so we have the downtown grid kind of planned up. We can kind of see how it's going to play out with the rest of the city. I'm rethinking how the grid works in here. We're going to turn it on a bit of a different angle, I think. That'll kind of add in a bit more flair, and we have a bit of a reason to do so right through here too, because this is where the hotel is going to be. So this is going to be kind of like a bit of a battle of the grid lines right through here. So we'll add this in when we get the hotel in. I'm going to really push for hotels in this area, really get our value up, because I really want that hotel to be built right here so that we can kind of base everything off of it. That's a historic building. I want to make sure that we have that actually placed. I might even unlock all buildings, place that building, and then relock them all. Just because I want to make sure that the grid is centered around that building. They're very important in Canadian cities. They're centerpieces of history, and I just think that it's really important that we get that in. So we did rails, we did the grid, we planned it out. Friday's episode is going to be building this interchange and connecting it into the area. So we have this road here, for example. I don't think it's a good idea to connect up into this one because that's where the train station is on. I'm going to look for a really cool historic end station, but if not, I think this is a fun solution. At least, a bit of history, a bit more modern. I think that kind of works. But where else we're going to connect it in? I'm thinking this might be a good destination to connect in the boulevard here, because we have the rails running alongside of it. It's going to be kind of like a bit of an issue anyways. So we might need to delete the rails and redraw them a couple times, because this road might need to become a larger road. But I think this is going to be a sunken boulevard coming in through here. And then I guess it'll not be sunken anymore once it connects up into this area. And then we'll continue it out a little bit more, and it'll kind of go into the park area, and it'll kind of end in the park area. So yeah, main thoroughway through this area, and then we'll probably need to figure out another street that we need to widen through here going in this direction. So that'll be tomorrow's episode. This was just the rough planning of it, Friday's episode. But I hope you enjoyed the build, folks. Let's find a fun area through here to take a nice screenshot. So I hope you have a wonderful day, folks. We'll talk soon. Peace out.